Alrighty. The book mentions a really good point. After you have some subnetting basics under your belt, it's worthwhile to realize what's going to happen down the road as you move into exams, whether it's an R class or the next networking class or certification exams. What they love to do to you is ask you a kind of like a last piece of a subnetting problem. Ask you about one of those IP addresses on the table and say, hey, is this usable? Hey, is this a blah? Is this a blah? And it's a way for them to test, do you know all this stuff we've talked about up to this point to get to that question? They do that. They love to do that. And it usually tends to be given a certain network requirements, number of hosts, number of subnets, whatever, calculate the possible and the ranges of. That's one thing they like to do. Given a certain IP, determine its subnet network, broadcast address, first last host kind of thing. So again, pieces of this whole process they love to ask because that lets them know, do you know all the beginning pieces to answer that? So what I've done for you to help you is, one is the subnetting labs we're going to do. We're going to do a couple different ones to get you up to speed. So we're going to do a couple labs to help you try to get these pieces meshed together and working. Second thing is, I have a subnetting practice quiz on D2L. This is set up to take a zillion times. I don't care. And it actually set up with some question sets that if you take it 5, 6, 7 times, you're going to get different questions. They're not going to be the same ones over and over again. It's also set up for limited attempts. It's going to keep your high score. So it's never going to penalize you. And that's a way for you to kind of like try it or go back later and, practice up or brush up and make sure you're understanding how to do these kind of questions. I do also have a subnetting review quiz. This you're going to need to do after we have done all of our labs. This will count for homework points. So I'm going to encourage you to do the practice quiz a bunch, and then once you got it under your belt, do the review quiz. You get basically one shot at that one to give me your best score on it. Okay, so I have all those pieces in place to help you. Here's the kind of questions they like to ask you. And yeah, they're not going to give you this up here. I put that up here for our reference. They love to give you this right here, and that's it. So they'll say, okay, view the following IP address and subnet mask, and answer the following question about the IP. So 250.60.66/29. They love to do this to you to see if you know how to get your subnet mask from it. So from that, how many subnets can be created with the following network and subnet mask? So they're looking for you to identify, is it a class A, B, or C? With that, what kind of subnet mask you got? So how many bits did you borrow to know how many subnets you're going to get? That's what they're really trying to figure out. So to do that, what I would do is say, okay, 200 is a class C. That's what that tells you. And I'm thinking already default network host 255.255.255.0/24. That's all the normal that should pop into your head. With the /29, I'm now thinking 255.255.255 with this 5 bits borrowed. Okay, 5 bits borrowed right there gives me that /29. And the question they asked you about subnets, I don't need to go any further. I can say, okay, with 5 bits borrowed, 2 to the 5, 32 addresses are created for subnetting. That's what they asked me. I can stop right there. I see those 5 bits borrowed. 2 to the 5 tells me 32 subnets are created for subnetting. That's the first type of question they love to ask you. Something about this. Hey, how many subnets can be created? Hey, how many hosts per subnet are you going to get kind of thing. That's what they like to get you, or like to ask you. This one right here, 200.50.60.66/28. How many usable host IP addresses per subnet can you get? You notice usable. Okay, so 200, I'm thinking class C, /28, I know there's bits borrowed. So I'm thinking, okay, 200 class C, /28. What I have now is 255.255.255. Here is the 4 bits borrowed. That's what it tells me, 4 bits borrowed. So 4 bits borrowed is 2 to the 4, 16 subnets are created. There's the 4 bits borrowed, 16 subnets are created. And there's 4 bits left for hosts. So 2 to the 4 is going to give me 16 hosts per subnet, of which, minus 2, 14 are usable. And that's the piece they asked you if you go back there. How many usable IP addresses are there? And they're going to give you answers. If it's multiple choice, they're going to give you answers of 16 and 14. They're going to give you both, guaranteed. And you'll need to know to subtract the 2 to get the 14 usable addresses per subnet. Okay. Next one. Next type of question they love to ask you. View the following information, 250.60.123/30. Is this address, what type of address is this? Is it a network number, usable host, or broadcast address? Ooh, this tends to like throw you for a loop because you're like, I have to do the whole chart. I have to do the whole thing. Not necessarily. Okay, not necessarily. What you can do is use your noggin and put your pieces together. I know with a 200, it's a class C. I know with a /30, okay, I'm used to /24. So /30, okay, there's my 24. 6 more, 6 bits borrowed. I could go down the road of 6 bits borrowed. 2 to the 6 is giving me 64 subnets. 2 bits left. 2 to the 2 is 4 addresses per subnet, blah, blah, blah. But that has nothing to do with what they're asking us. What I could do is apply what I know very quickly and say, okay, with this last octet, 123, if I were to convert that into binary, this is what I get. 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And if I also apply what I know and say, okay, host portion, if the host portion is all zeros, it's a network number. If the host portion is all ones, it's a broadcast address. And if it were 0 and 1 or 1 and 0, I know it would be a usable. So with all ones in the host portion, I can see very quickly this happens to be a broadcast address for that network or that subnet. I don't need to go any further. I don't need to do any other work because I'm using the pieces that I know and applying to what they're asking me. Again, they love to ask you a question like this because they're like, how much do you know to answer that? And if I apply what I know, I can find it out pretty quickly. Even me explaining to you, we figured it out in like a minute or two. All while the clock's ticking on a certification exam. All right, so there's your subnetting questions that they love to ask you.